What is preventing both Charlotte and Sasha Banks from main eventing Hell in a Cell? Let's talk about
Fill
it.
your glasses up and put your headphones in, because it's time for Off the Script. And all you fucking goons and assholes, get in line and hit subscribe, because it's time for Off the Script. Hit the like button and share it around. You can even pull your fucking pants down, because it's time for Off the Script with JD from New York 206, because it's time for Off the Script, because it's time for Off the Script.
What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. Tonight, WWE presents Hell in a Cell, live on the WWE Network from Boston, Massachusetts. Everybody is wondering what exactly is going to be the main event of tonight's show. Is it going to be the women? Is it going to be the Universal Championship? And if it is the women, is there something preventing WWE from actually allowing this to happen tonight, live at Hell in a Cell? Also, guys, I do want to make a quick reminder to you. Tonight, there will be an official review and results, as always, live on my channel as soon as the pay-per-view goes off the air. So make sure you guys are keeping an eye on my channel for your official Hell in a Cell 2016 review and results. But speaking of the pay-per-view, Vince McMahon preventing both Charlotte and Sasha Banks from headlining Hell in a Cell tonight. If it seems like WWE's been going back and forth about the main event of the upcoming Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it is because there has been a division backstage between those that make the big decisions. Vince McMahon is said to be against the idea of Charlotte and Sasha Banks being placed in the final match on the card, as reported by 411 Mania. Over the past couple of weeks, several people associated with WWE have attempted to push the fact that the divas, they still mention the word divas, man. You know, they're women. And I don't know why these reports are referencing them as divas, but this is what the report says. It's a typo, obviously. WWE have attempted to push the fact that the women were going to be the final match of the pay-per-view for the first time ever for a pay-per-view. However, many of them backtracked, with some even going as far as to delete the posts that they made on various social media websites. Some fans did not think too much about the change of mind, as WWE has been notorious for changing up plans at the very last minute, which this match could very well be the closing match for the pay-per-view, and it could be a last-minute decision, so you'll have to wait and see. But everything I'm talking about here could be null and void at the end of the day. There have been episodes of Monday Night Raw that were being rewritten after the show went on the air, and they want to know why Monday Night Raw is fucking terrible. Being able to think on your feet is one of the required traits when you're working with the creative department of World Wrestling Entertainment. And again, that's why Monday Night Raw is a failure. Being able to think on your feet and make quick-witted decisions when everything should be planned out. Everything should be fleshed out weeks before the show airs, and then you make minor changes as you see fit. No, they're rewriting the fucking show as the show is airing live. This is why Monday Night Raw is fucking abysmal. There you go. When Triple H was an in-ring performer, WWE fans had issues with him because they believe that he used backstage politics to put himself into one of the top positions in the company. Once he decided to transition from being a wrestler to being an executive, fans started accepting him because he tried to give fans what they wanted by going against some of the ideals laid down by Vince McMahon. It should come as no surprise to WWE fans that Triple H is one of the strongest proponents of Charlotte and Sasha Banks being in the final match at Hell in a Cell tonight. He has long been an advocate of the women's division, Triple H knows that the internet wrestling community have been yearning for the division to be given more respect. That is why the former World Heavyweight Champion has decided to back many of the female performers in WWE. Vince McMahon is a bit old school. It is truly hard to blame him for being that way because the formula that he has believed in for years has gotten WWE where they are today. I understand that much, but times change. We're in 2016. We're going to be in 2017 before you guys even fucking breathe. It'll be here before you know it, and then we'll be getting ready for the Rumble and then WrestleMania. But a lot of his old school mentality needs to be tweaked. A lot of the things that he thinks are going to be right might not be right for Monday Night Raw. It might not be right for WWE right now. You know, it's a little ridiculous. You know, with the story that Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, you know, and that promo segment that they had in Minneapolis, Vince McMahon wanted Brock Lesnar to be booed in his hometown. You know, I understand what he was trying to accomplish, but you can't sway the fans in something like that, man. Especially when you bill Brock Lesnar from someone who lived in Minnesota and it was some sort of homecoming for him. You know, you're not going to have the crowd boo Brock Lesnar all because you have a returning Bill Goldberg, this hero to the children and this baby face that you want to portray at the Survivor Series. It's not going to work that way. You know, so Vince McMahon really needs to take a few steps back and realize that we're in 2016. Some of the things that he might think, you know, are right might not be right at all for the current product. And that's what I've been trying to get across to you guys. Not only are they a publicly traded company, is WWE, they are the biggest sports entertainment company in the world without much competition on the horizon. If it was up to Vince McMahon, he would much rather see one of the two other matches on the card in the final position. Rusev and Roman Reigns, which should not be the main event, but I'll talk about that in a second, and Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Rusev and Roman Reigns are battling one another for the United States Championship. Seth Rollins is also challenging Kevin Owens for the WWE Universal Championship, and it seems like everything else on Monday Night Raw is more important than the Universal Championship. I mean, you name it, and it's more important than the Universal Championship. Seriously, Kevin Dunn's buck teeth are more important than the Universal Championship. You know? Sasha Banks and her fucking tight white pants on Monday night, they're more important than the Universal Championship. Sheamus's tattoos and his mohawk and his piercings, they're more important than the Universal Championship. I was actually going to make a video, everything that's more important than the Universal Championship on Monday Night Raw. I think I still might do that. You know, I'll save that for a rainy day. Those are more of the traditional choices. Rusev and Reigns, and then we got Rollins and Kevin Owens. A couple of years back, TNA earned a lot of praise from the internet wrestling community for putting their knockouts in featured positions on their show. They were treated as equals to the male performers, and even some of the hardest critics of TNA had to give them credit that they deserved for thinking outside the box. It was reminiscent of when Lita and Trish Stratus were allowed to headline an episode of Monday Night Raw. There are still a couple of days, or when I pulled this article, but it's a couple of hours now, a couple of hours before the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on Sunday night. Hopefully, Triple H and his supporters can convince Vince McMahon to give Charlotte and Sasha Banks a chance to make history in WWE. It might go a long way towards drawing viewers back. It's not going to draw viewers back. The viewers that you lost are going to remain lost because your product overall is a piece of shit right now. But that is what is preventing right now the rumor going around from Charlotte and Sasha Banks headlining Hell in a Cell. Now, my thoughts on this. Number one, if it is not the main event, I swear to fucking God, I was thinking about this earlier before I even hit record on this video. What if Roman Reigns and Rusev is the main event for this show, for this pay-per-view? Number one, it's not even anywhere close to a main event program. And I would not be surprised if WWE actually has this happen, because why the fuck not? It's Roman Reigns. He's their little fucking pet project for all these years. And the fact that WWE has failed to get Roman Reigns over in the way that they want, you know, and he is still the man, no matter how, you know, fucking hated this guy is. He is still the man. And WWE will continue to push him as the man. So they took him out of the main event, right? They took him out of the top spot. He's not fighting for the top prize. He's not fighting Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. But he's still the top guy. He's still being booked like a top guy. And if Roman Reigns can't be in the top spot or in the top program, they gave him the United States Championship, and I feel that WWE is making the United States Championship, all that much more important as a backup because they couldn't give Roman Reigns that spot. So they're making the title seem important. They're getting the title over because they couldn't get Roman Reigns over. So that's what they're doing with that. And I would not be shocked if they put that match on last to close the pay-per-view. And if that's the case, then we're already fucking... This pay-per-view is a failure already, but if that happens, then WWE certainly is absolutely clueless. Now, as far as the women headlining, I don't give a shit if they headline or not. I'm of the old school where your main championship, whether it be a WWE championship or a Universal Championship, in this case for Monday Night Raw, it should be the headlining match. I was upset about the WWE Championship match opening the last pay-per-view that we had for Smackdown, but when I seen the match and how hot the crowd was, I mean, it made for a great fucking atmosphere. So, I mean, if it's a B-level pay-per-view like that, I'm not going to fucking bitch and moan like I usually do. I'm more of a traditionalist. I want the main championship for your brand, for your company to go on last. But in this case, none of these matches really are headline worthy at all. Just by the storyline build and the storyline that we've been given for all three of these matches on Monday Night Raw, none of them feel important. So at this rate, I don't give a fuck what goes on last. As long as it's not Roman Reigns. Because the United States Championship and that feud period, right now for the United States Championship, I would not mind if it did headline, if there was a overwhelmingly fucking story that we were all invested in. But I don't want Roman Reigns headlining the pay-per-view just because he's Roman Reigns. That's bullshit. Especially when you have a Universal Championship. And that's going to speak volumes about what WWE thinks about not only Kevin Owens, but the Universal Championship as well. And maybe Seth Rollins at this rate. I don't know. But for the women, they've been making a big deal about headlining this fucking pay-per-view with Sasha and Charlotte. If they don't do it, and Vince McMahon is preventing the women from headlining, what does that say about this historic moment? What does this mean about the women's division in the eyes of Vince McMahon? It's not a revolution. It's not historic. If your CEO is preventing the women after there's a company-wide initiative to push the women as so important and making history and this revolution is going to be fucking great, we're going to change the game with women's wrestling, they're doing none of those things, number one. But what does it say about the company-wide initiative that they're shoving down our throats if Vince McMahon doesn't want the women to headline a pay-per-view? What does it say if Vince McMahon doesn't want this match to close the pay-per-view tonight? They're not important. If your CEO, if the man in WWE who runs everything does not want it to happen, then it's not important. If Vince McMahon has to be convinced that this needs to go on last, then it's not really a revolution. They're not really making history. If Vince McMahon wanted to make history, and I use that fucking term loosely with huge quotations, if they want to make history, then it would go on last. If not, there's nothing historic about it. There's no revolution, The company-wide initiative with these fucking women's matches and the fucking verbiage that they use, it's nauseating. If Vince McMahon is not behind it, then it's a fucking waste of time. And that's all I got to say about that. And if it does end up main eventing the pay-per-view, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit where it falls on the card. I doubt we're going to get the Hell in a Cell match that everybody is expecting here. Will there be a table spot? Will there be an illegal weapon, a chair, a baseball bat? Are we going to see fucking thumbtacks? Is it going to live up to the Hell in a Cell, moniker and pay homage to the structure? Of course not. Now, I don't want it to go on and be bad. I don't want them to fucking stink up the show. I want to be wrong in this situation. I just feel that, going into this, everything I've said is going to be right on the money. I want to be surprised. I want them to pull out something big. I want them to shut me up. But in this case, I just don't see it happening. And Vince McMahon, if he's not behind it, there's nothing historic about it. There's no sort of revolution going on here. If Vince McMahon is not behind it, then it's obviously not that important. And that's all I got to say about that. That is the latest news about this story going into tonight's pay-per-view. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you on my page? Are you thinking the way I'm thinking? If Vince McMahon doesn't want it to go on last, then it really isn't all that important, and there's no historic moments, and there's no revolution happening. Just let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I got a ton of shit coming today. I'm going to be recording all day long. Live stream coming up at 4:30. Hell in a Cell for WWE 2K17 with GCW Raw. First brand exclusive pay-per-view live on YouTube Gaming. It's going to be fucking big, so make sure you guys are joining me for that. Plus, I got the Hell in a Cell review tonight. I'm going to be recording some other shit for you. I might do some match simulations if I have some time. But other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up, sound off in the comments below, and I will see you later today right here on YouTube with more great WWE content and getting you guys ready for Hell in a Cell. I'm JD. I'll see you guys later.